You just spent $800 on a new TV. You carried it home, spent an hour setting it up, dimmed the lights, sat down for movie night, and then within 18 months, the backlight starts flickering. The smart hub freezes every time you try to change an app. A firmware update rolls out overnight, and the next morning, your TV won't even turn on. You unplug it, plug it back in, and nothing. $800 gone. This is not a rare horror story. This is happening to millions of people right now, and the brands responsible are still sitting on the shelves at your local Best Buy, wrapped in glossy boxes with big promises on the side. So today we're going through 10 TV brands you need to stay away from, and at the end we'll cover the 3 that are genuinely worth it. Stick around, because one of the brands on the avoid list might actually surprise you. Let's get into it. Westinghouse. It sounds like a company that's been around forever, built on American engineering, and technically, yes, the original Westinghouse was exactly that. But here's the thing, the Westinghouse you're buying today at Walmart for $299, that's not the same company. The brand name was licensed out years ago. What you're actually getting is a budget TV made by a third-party manufacturer using the Westinghouse name as a marketing tool. The results speak for themselves. Consumer Reports data puts Westinghouse at 54 out of 100 for reliability, one of the lowest scores on the board. And it's not just a number. Owners report hardware failures at a rate of 65% by month 24. That means nearly 2 out of every 3 people who buy a Westinghouse are dealing with a serious problem within 2 years. 2 years. Common failures include panel cracks on the WR55UX model series, screen ghosting during fast motion, and brightness that barely hits 350 nits when you need at least 800 to properly display HDR content. So that 4K HDR TV you paid for, in many cases, it literally cannot render the HDR it's advertised for. One owner put it this way on Best Buy's review page: bought this as a second TV for the bedroom. 14 months later, it went dark. Customer service told me my warranty was up. Never again. That's Westinghouse. Familiar name, unfamiliar quality. RCA. Same story, different. RCA is another legendary American brand, one that used to mean something. Today, the brand is licensed out, and what's being sold under that name is some of the worst performing hardware on the market. We're talking about a brand that sees nearly 45% of units fail before the end of year 2. And when they fail, it's not a software glitch you can fix with a restart. It's power supply, dead panel, screens that just go black one morning and never come back. The smart features are almost comically outdated. Upscaling score on independent testing labs sit at 5.2 out of 10, meaning 1080p. Content displayed on a 4K screen looks noticeably degraded, not better. And the Fire TV OS integration on some model has been documented to crash during streaming at a rate of about 22%. There was even a 2024 recall covering 300,000 RCA units for exploding power supply. Not potential issue, documented failures that required a federal recall. You can find these for $200 on a 50-inch screen. That price is the trap. At that price point, 45% of people are essentially gambling, and the house always wins. If you've walked through Walmart recently, you've seen the Onn TVs, Walmart's own house brand, sit front and center, priced so low they almost feel like a mistake. A 6.5-inch Onn for under $300, the deal of the century. Except it's not. What Walmart doesn't advertise is what happens after you bring it home. Onn TVs are built to a price point, not a quality standard. The panels are sourced from the lowest bidder. The software support is minimal, and when something goes wrong, and statistically it will, Walmart's support infrastructure for Onn is essentially non-existent. There's no dedicated Onn service line. There's no repair net. Your options are return it within the return window or live with it. Owners on Reddit describe the experience in remarkably consistent terms. The picture looks decent in the first few weeks, then you start noticing backlight bleed creeping in from the edges. Motion hand falls apart during sports. The built-in Roku TV system, which is actually solid software, gets hobbled by underpowered hardware that struggles to run it smoothly. If you need a TV for a garage or a guest room and you understand you're buying a disposable appliance maybe, but as a primary television for your living room, you're going to regret it within it. Insignia is Best Buy's house brand. Same concept as Onn, different store, and the dynamics are almost identical. People see a 5.5-inch 4K TV with a name they recognize buys from Best Buy, priced at around $250, and they assume Best Buy has done some quality control on their own brand. That's a reasonable assumption. It's also wrong. Insignia TVs consistently rank at the bottom of Consumer Reports' satisfaction survey. The hardware holds up fine for the first year barely. After that, the most common complaints are about the smart TV interface, lagging and crashing, HDMI ports that stop recognizing devices, and backlights that develop dead zone. One Reddit user described buying an Insignia Fire TV, using it for 14 months with no problems, then waking up one day to find half the screen had developed a vertical dark band down the center, called Best Buy. They said it was past their return window and to contact Insignia directly. Insignia said it wasn't covered. $320 in the trash. Here's the honest truth about store brand TV. Best Buy and Walmart aren't in the business of making television. They're in the business of selling. The margins on house brands are great for them, not for you. Now here's where it gets a little more nuanced and a little more frustrating. Toshiba used to be a genuinely excellent brand. For decades, Toshiba was synonymous with Japanese engineering quality, reliable, sharp picture, built to last. If you bought a Toshiba in the 1990s or early 2000s, you probably got a decade of solid performance out. The Toshiba of today is not that company. The brand was sold, the TV division was licensed out, and what you get now is a TV manufactured by a different company using Toshiba's name, not Toshiba's engineering team quality standard. Owner satisfaction score are among the lowest in Consumer Reports database. Users frequently report software glitches, a sluggish Fire TV interface, and panel quality that degrades noticeably within 18 to 24 months. The saddest part? People buy Toshiba specifically because they remember the old Toshiba. They're paying for a reputation that no longer reflects the product. That gap between what people expect and what they actually get is what makes this one sting the most. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, so it's just the ultra cheap brands. Avoid those, buy something mid-range and I'll be fine, right? Not necessarily, because the next few brands on this list aren't bargain bin products. Some of them you've seriously considered, and one of them might already be sitting in your living room. Philips is an interesting case. It's a respected European company. It makes quality products in a lot of categories. And yet when it comes to TVs, especially in the US market, the reliability data is rough. A major 2025 consumer reliability survey found Philips TVs forming significantly below what their price point would suggest. The biggest issue isn't the hardware itself, it's software support. Philips TVs running Android TV have a documented history of sluggish updates, apps that crash at frustratingly high rates, and smart TV interfaces that feel years behind competitors. The most alarming data: Philips OLED TVs in the $1,500 to $2,000 range are showing fault rates that one major consumer watchdog group said they'd be cautious recommend based on their owner survey result. When you're spending $1,500 or more, those failure rates are simply not acceptable. People expect Philips to punch above its weight. What they often get is a premium-looking TV, mid-tier reliability and support that's hard to reach when something goes wrong. Sharp is another brand that survived by selling its name. The original Sharp Electronics made some excellent television. The modern Sharp TVs sold in North America are manufactured by Hisense, the same company that bought the rights to use the Sharp brand name in the Americas. Here's the problem with that arrangement. Hisense builds their own TVs, and they build Sharp TV. When you're producing volume at that scale, the premium engineering doesn't necessarily flow into the licensed brand. So you're often paying a name brand premium for what is functionally a budget Hisense product in different package. Motion blur is a consistent complaint on Sharp model. Viewing angles are narrow, some users report picture quality degrading noticeably at as little as 25 degrees off center. For a family couch where not everyone is sitting directly in front of the screen, that matters a lot. If you see a Sharp TV at the same price as a comparable Hisense, there's a good chance you're literally looking at the same TV in different packaging. Don't fall for the Sharp name. It doesn't mean what it used to. This one hurt because Vizio used to be the answer. 10 years ago, Vizio was the smart budget choice. Solid picture quality, good features, reasonable price. Savvy buyers recommended Vizio constant. Then Walmart bought. Walmart completed its $2.3 billion acquisition of Vizio in December 2021. 2024. And the reason Walmart wanted Vizio had nothing to do with making better television. Walmart wanted Vizio's advertising platform, a data collection system that tracked viewing habits across roughly 18 million active accounts. They wanted to connect what you watch on TV to what you buy at Walmart. Now, newly purchased Vizio TVs require you to create a Walmart account before you can access smart features. No account, no streaming apps, no voice search, nothing. Your $500 television becomes a mandatory data collection terminal tied to Walmart's retail advertising machine. And before the acquisition, Vizio was already struggling. Consumer Reports rated them 58 out of 100 below average. More than half of M-Series owners reported smart hub freezes within 18. A 2025 firmware update affected 500,000 units and disabled remote controls overnight. Someone on Reddit described it perfectly. Never will I own another Vizio product. My TV is 18 months old and it's the worst TV I have ever owned, and it wasn't their cheapest. Vizio pushed an update that froze the TV and it would not recover even after restart. Vizio used to be the answer. Now it's the warning. Now this one is controversial because Hisense has gotten a lot of positive press in recent years for their pricing, and the value proposition looks incredible on paper. A 7.5-inch 4K TV for $599? It's hard to argue with that number, but here's what the spec sheet doesn't tell. Consumer Reports data shows that 68% of Hisense owners report issues within the first 2 years of ownership. 2 out of 3. That's not a fluke, that's a pattern. The most common failure is backlight issue. A 25% complaint rate on the Better Business Bureau just for backlight problems alone. The QLED marketing on Hisense model has been the subject of a class action lawsuit alleging that the quantum dot technology fades 30% faster than advertised, meaning the vibrant picture you fell in love with in the store is measurably worse within a couple years of real use. The experience goes like this. You buy a Hisense, and for the first 6 months you think you made a brilliant decision. Then the backlight starts blooming. The remote gets sluggish. You search for help and find thousands of Reddit posts from people describing the exact same problem, and you realize the low price wasn't a deal. It was a discount on the build quality and the customer support you'll desperately need later. And the worst offender of all isn't one brand, it's an entire category. The no-name white label TVs flooding Amazon. Brands like Sansui, Element, Seiki, Proscan, Sep, and dozens more with names that change year to year. You've seen them. $179 for a 50-inch 4K HDR TV. It sounds like a miracle. It is a miracle, just not the kind you want. These brands see failure rates approaching 45% before year 2. Many ship with security vulnerabilities that are never patched because there is no software team maintaining. Streaming apps like Netflix and Disney Plus drop support for their smart TV platform within 2 to 3 years, leaving you with a very expensive dumb screen. When they fail, and they will, there is no customer service, no repair network, no accountability, just a dead TV and a lesson learned the hard way. Okay, you've been patient. Here are the 3 that are actually worth your money. TCL has done something remarkable, built real volume and real quality at the same time. Their Roku TV integration is one of the best smart TV platforms available anywhere at any price. Simple, fast, constantly updated, no account required to use the basics. The 5 Series and 6 Series models offer mini LED technology at prices that undercut Samsung by hundreds of dollars. Reliability scores put TCL above average for their price tier. The 6 Series with local dimming genuinely competes with TVs that cost twice as much. For budget-conscious buyers, this is the answer. TCL 5 Series or 6 Series Roku TV Edition. Prices start around $449 for a solid 5.5-inch. That's money well spent. Samsung is the most reliable TV brand in the market right now. They swept the 2024 American Customer Satisfaction in. Their Tizen operating system receives updates even for televisions that are 5 or 6 years old, almost unheard of in this industry. Their in-house panel manufacturing means more consistent quality control than brands sourcing panels from whoever's cheapest that quarter. Long-term data shows only about 7% of Samsung owners reported a serious issue by 5. Compare that to 15% or higher for most budget brands. and the math becomes very clear. Even if you pay $200 more up front, you're likely to save money over the life of the TV. The one caveat, Samsung doesn't support Dolby Vision. If you're running a serious home theater setup, that matters. For everyone else, Samsung is the safe, smart, reliable choice. LG makes the best televisions available to regular consumers right now. Their OLED panel, particularly the C series, deliver picture quality that was unthinkable at consumer prices just 5 years ago. True black levels, perfect per pixel brightness control, colors calibrated out of the box to a standard most brands charge extra to achieve. LG's WebOS platform is intuitive, fast, and receives consistent updates. Their reliability scores are among the highest in the industry. LG supports Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and virtually every major HDR format. Whatever content you're watching, LG handles it properly. Yes, LG OLEDs cost more. The C465-inch runs around $1,299 to $1,499 depending on where you buy. But that television will last you 8 to 10 years with proper care. The $299 Westinghouse that fails in 18 months isn't cheap. It's more expensive. You just pay in installments of frustration. Here's the simple framework before you go. Under $600 by TCL, specifically the 5 series or 6 series with Roku. Between $600 and $1,200 by Samsung. Above $1,200 by LG. And no matter what your budget is, avoid the store brands, avoid the licensed legacy names, and don't let a $200 price tag convince you that you're getting $800 worth of television. The most expensive TV you'll ever buy is the cheap one you have to replace in 2 years. If this saved you from a mistake, subscribe because the next video covers the exact models within these brands worth buying and a few that aren't. That breakdown alone could save you a few $100s. Drop a comment below telling me which brand you've had the best or worst experience with. I read every single one